日本時間4月1日、米大リーグのドジャースがガーディアンズと対戦し、大谷翔平が1番投手兼 DH で先発出場しました。今季初の二刀流出場となったこの試合で、大谷翔平は投手として6回1安打無失点、6奪三振の快投を見せ、今季初勝利を挙げました。直球は最速 99.2 マイル、約 159.6 キロを計測し、多彩な変化球も効果的に決まりました。打者としても3打数1安打3出塁を記録し、キャリアハイに並ぶ36試合連続出塁としました。試合後、大谷翔平を攻略できなかったガーディアンズのボート監督は、その投球内容を高く評価しました。翔平は配球のバランスが非常に良かった。決まったパターンがなく、多彩な球種を投げていた。球速も制球も良かった。ヒット1本だけでは、なかなか攻撃の流れを作るのは難しかったと振り返り、大谷翔平の完成度の高い投球に脱帽していました。また、ガーディアンズの先発を務めたバイビーも、大リーグで二刀流は理解不能と語り、大谷翔平の唯一無二の存在感を改めて称賛しました。さらに、ドジャースのマンシー、ウィル・スミス、ロバーツ監督らも、大谷翔平の活躍を称えるコメントを残しています。これらの模様を日本語字幕付きでご紹介します。
A little bit of a chilly evening here in Los Angeles, but what a great night we have ahead of us here at the Ravine, because this place was packed more than an hour ago because it is Yoshi bobblehead night. You see some of the Yoshi hats behind us. We've got a Super Mario Galaxy Yoshi character over there as well. Tough to get into this place, and this is a tough item to get.
It is a very tough item to get, and this is why Yoshi, the World Series MVP, he's being honored once again here tonight on this bobblehead night. But I love the fact these fan base, they were here early. It feels like a playoff type atmosphere. Fans are fired up, and they want the Dodgers to get back in this series.
I mean, they're excited. Obviously, the bobblehead is a huge hit. You got Shohei on the mound as well. And Jerry, must win. Want to win the series? Must win. I'm just doing the math for you.
It is a must win. This is our first must win of the season. They have to have this game tonight.
The first of many must win games in Jerry's mind. And as if the Yoshi bobblehead wasn't a big enough reason to want to be out here, as you guys mentioned, it is also the debut of Shohei Ohtani pitching tonight for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Kirsten Watson is down there inside the stadium. She joins us live with more on Shohei. Hi there, Kirsten.
Hi, John. Yeah, it's an exciting day all around, but with Shohei Ohtani getting his first start of the regular season, there is so much in store. He was only to have 2 starts this spring, but he was incredibly intentional when it came to his build-up. Even when he was away from the team with Team Japan in the World Baseball Classic, he found ways to make sure he was taking part in a live BP. So when he got back to Camelback Ranch, he said that was just a continuation. His build-up is in a very good spot heading into this regular season. Dave Roberts talked about what he saw about Shohei Ohtani just from those 2 starts of spring, what he's looking to see from him on the mound, and just with the guy who's going to be having a complete season as a two-way player this year, with his goals, what those could look like.
I think that the thing that stood out most was he had 2 starts with us, and he realized that, and so there was an urgency, but overtly you couldn't see it. But there was real intention to make sure he was dialed in both starts, and he was very good.
Does the stuff look even better than last year's launch sample, especially some of the secondaries?
Yeah, it does. It does. I think the feel for the breaking balls is much better. I think last year he was trying to introduce, a slider with maybe a little bit more depth, and just trying to get a handle on that. But now the ability to strike it, shorten it, to make it get a little bit bigger, all the while still having 97, 98 in the tank when he needs it. So fastball command last year was interestingly commanded really well, given his surgery. But I think the feel for the breaking ball was a work in progress, but he's got a pretty good handle on it right now.
Seems to put his mind to winning the Cy Young this year. How absurd does that seem?
It does seem absurd, but I think if anyone can manage the designated hitter role and be as productive as he's been, and then still chase that elusive Cy Young for a Japanese pitcher. I think that he can do it. I think for him, he is definitely, first and foremost, he's shown that he's team driven, but also there's some individual things that he certainly, wants to achieve, which is a good thing.
This spring, Shohei Ohtani has made it clear that he does have a personal goal. He wants to win the National League Cy Young, and he has a season in which he wants to post. As I mentioned, he's healthy. The last few years, we haven't seen him on the mound. Last year, he was very intentional when it came to his buildup and how the team was using him. But this year, he has said, as much as, yes, he does have personal goals, he doesn't want to focus on those. He's focusing on the team goal. That, of course, is a three-peat. He has shared, when he spoke to us after his outing in Arizona, he said that he just wants to be flexible, adjustable, and he wants to post for his team. So that's every 5 days, every 6 days. He wants to be available and on that mound. And of course, as the DH, is a two-way player, guys.
And every time he takes the mound, it is must-see TV here in Los Angeles. Kirsten, thank you very much. And he goes 4 innings last week in his final spring tune-up no more against the Angels through 86 pitches. Do you think that just 2 spring starts is enough for Shohei to feel truly ready for this one tonight?
For Shohei, yes. For others, no. But because we're talking about Shohei Ohtani, he knows himself so well. You heard Dave Roberts in his interview talking about those 2 starts being intentional. There was some intent behind that, knowing that he was possibly going to be limited in spring training due to the WBC. But I think the way he prepares himself, the way he's coming into the season, I think all of that he took into consideration, knowing then these are going to be intentional. There were certain things he wanted to work on, such as the breaking ball, being sharp. I think, there might be a pitch limit on him, obviously, especially as you're building up as well. We see that for every starter nonetheless. But I think he expects himself to be like, listen, I'm ready to go. I want to be counted on. I want to be one of the top pitchers in this rotation. And he's going to go at them.
One thing that I think sometimes it gets overlooked, we know about Shohei Ohtani's talents. We know about his work ethic. Offensive side, pitching side. The one thing that does get overlooked is how prepared he is. You got to remember, he knew that the WBC was going to take place, and he knew he was not going to pitch in games there, so he made sure he had this throwing program in the offseason, had his throwing program in spring training before he went to WBC, and made sure he threw a sim game where he was firing on all cylinders against his teammates, and then he comes back and he hits the ground running. So he will be prepared. Now, we expect him to pitch well tonight. We always do, but it wasn't because of lack of effort and not being prepared. He is prepared for this start, and he's prepared to pitch well.
Certainly is prepared to pitch well, and he didn't return to pitching last year until the middle part of June as he was coming back from a second major elbow operation. He only threw 47 innings last year, then 4 more starts, Jerry, in the postseason. He's a full go now. We heard Dave Roberts talk about it. Shohei wants to be in that Cy Young conversation. What are your expectations in terms of number of starts you think he will be making this year?
Well, I think it's going to be in the neighborhood of 23 to 27 starts. It just depends on how he feels throughout the season. You got to make sure you keep him fresh so he can continue to be productive offensively, and make sure his arms fresh and legs are fresh so he can pitch in the postseason. So I expect that number. And I love the fact that he's trying to go hunt for a Cy Young. We have him doing that. Tyler Glasnow doing that. Yamamoto, so on and so forth. That just brings everybody's expectations as far as the rotation up a notch. And that's always good, having guys in the rotation competing against each other, because it brings them closer, but it makes them each other step up their game. So I love the fact he's going after that. He goes out and wins a Cy Young. I mean, he's already the best player I've ever seen, but he goes out and wins a Cy Young. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I ain't going to put it past him.
Yeah, it's funny because I wrote down 25. Just if you can get 25 or more, I mean, that's a great year for the Dodgers to be able to have Shohei Ohtani take them out that many times. But obviously, it's easy to put a number now, but the game and the season is going to dictate what that number really looks like. And not just on Shohei and how he's feeling and what they, how his entire body is feeling overall, but also how others and how the team is playing when they get into certain circumstances. That also factors in. And we've seen it so many times, like, okay, you may be going through a rut. If you maybe have some injuries, which is always something that you got to figure out and see how the rotation plays. So all that may factor in to see how many games we see, and if they're also going out and they're having a great season, everybody's doing their job and well. Sometimes they start really spreading things out and giving guys some more rest, so that also factors in. So there's a lot of different factors. So, but if you can get around that 25 mark, man, that is great for the Dodgers.
And that's an interesting number because Yoshi didn't miss a start last year. He made 30 starts, and I don't know if you would want Shohei Ohtani to make 30 starts necessarily, Jerry, considering he is still doing both.
Yeah, I think 30 starts, I think combined, regular season and the postseason World Series, I think that is that ideal number, 30 times. So that's why Nomar, I said 23 to 27. 25 is that magical number that gives him 4, possibly 5 starts in the postseason.
All right, we'll see if they're skipping him at some point throughout the regular season. Hopefully he just can stay healthy here in 2026. Now, Shohei Ohtani only made 2 spring starts. One of them was here in the Freeway Series last week against the Angels. The other one, he only made 1 in Arizona against the Giants, Nomar. And, you know, in typical Shohei fashion, didn't look rusty at all. He was commanding the baseball, threw it pretty well.
He did, and I still go back to what we heard earlier from Dave Roberts about Shohei, where his outings in spring, there was intent. And we're going to go to the K-zone and look how there was intent behind all his pitches and utilizing all his pitches as well. And if you're wondering if there was any rust, well, he didn't show it in this outing here. We got the fastball, good location, up and in. All right, get the fly ball out there, and then you get ahead of the count, 0-2. Now you can still come back with a heater, get the swing and miss on the heater because you can get it up to like 99 whenever he needs to. There's the split finger on a 2-2 count. What do you sit on as a hitter? You looking fastball? What are you gonna look? Split finger? There's another splitter. If you put in play, utilize the defense. So he's very thoughtful. That's really Shohei, really a team guy thinking of his team, which is great. But he also has the curveball to rack up the strikeouts there. Just a really good curveball where you give up on it and it has such a big break and it falls right into the zone. So there was intent. He was utilizing all his pitches. All his pitches looked good. Hopefully we see that again today.
I love the rhythm, the tempo of his delivery. I really believe he's entering now his pitching prime. He's back now, what, year and a half removed, almost 2 years removed of that procedure. He is at full strength, full go. He did look sharp here in spring. I expect him to be sharp tonight and moving forward. He has a variety of pitches. He can throw at any time. And also tonight, I think he's a little angry. John, he hasn't gotten a lot of hits so far this season. I think he's a little angry. If I'm not getting any hits, guess what? You ain't getting hits either. He's going to do something about that tonight.
All right, Shohei Ohtani on the mound. As Jerry mentioned, he has a couple of base hits, both of them singles. We're waiting for that bat to break out in a big way as well.
To have 3 Japanese-born players representing the Dodgers and pitching every game of this series is truly something special. I know back in Japan, they're going to be watching like they do every night. They're watching with a sense of pride, and rightfully so, having Sasaki, the Big Show, and Yamamoto back to back to back. Truly something special.
Well, this is an international game. It has now become that, and that is great. Great for this sport, great for this game. And the Dodgers have been at the forefront of that push. And as you mentioned, with Hideo Nomo, you talk about Jackie Robinson. They've had so many other international that have major. Fernando Valenzuela. I mean, there's so many that have really just impacted and showing that this game is international. And then you had the success with the WBC that we saw over this spring, which was outstanding. And now you have the Japanese starters. So I think this is great for baseball. And, you know, the Dodgers, they do an unbelievable job recruiting out there internationally.
They absolutely do, and it's no surprise in back-to-back seasons the Dodgers were tasked with going to Korea to start the season. Then they go to Japan. They've really mastered the allure of the international market, as you mentioned, Omar, from Shohei, Roki, and Yamamoto. They also have Haesung Kim from Korea and Andy Paz, Edwin Diaz, Miggy Rowe. The guys know that this is the place to be. I mean, really, Los Angeles is a melting pot of cultures and of people, and the clubhouse kind of is too.
You're exactly right, and I really do think that the city impacts that, and why so many international, aside from one of the top-notch and historic franchises, so that helps, but in an historic city as well with that melting pot, so that all influences everything.
It is an incredible place to play, and our fans, second to none. They pack it just about every single night. They're loud, they're passionate, and everybody wants to be here. But I love the international flavor. All walks of life are in this clubhouse, in this city. Truly something special at Dodger Stadium in the city of LA.
Nobody on this telecast was even alive when Babe Ruth passed away. So we have no idea, no concept of what baseball, what the world was like when Babe Ruth was out there dominating the sport. But Shohei Ohtani might be the best comp we've ever had since.
Absolutely. When you think about it, I'm sure there were more than 50,000 fans outside of a ballpark before Babe Ruth was going to pitch way back when, like they were today, for a bobblehead, if they were even made of. But the one thing we heard last night from Rick Manning, who we respect, despite how you hear us talk about at times, is he's the best player he's ever seen. Well, I can tell you there's 26 men that play on this baseball team in this dugout to the left of me. They feel the exact same way. And we see the physical stuff, right? The home runs, the 95-mile-per-hour fastball, the stolen bases. We see all of that. But when you talk to our players, they say it's also mental. Mentally preparing for every hitter, mentally preparing for every pitcher, showing up and doing it with a smile. For Angel Martinez, as well as Eric Zabrowski, they marvel at what they're seeing, and they think they know about what mentally is going on inside Shohei's head.
We gotta focus a lot. I mean, I gotta focus a lot. Like it's a great matchup for me. Like face a guy like him, like who execute his pitches. Like he already like he's doing what he's doing like during the season, like every single year. So for me, just like come to the field and like just do what I do. You know, just see it, hit it. That's it.
Behind the scenes preparation work that people don't get to see. Like it's crazy. Like he's going over a whole scouting report for, you know, not even just 9 hitters, 12 hitters, because there's pinch hitters, and then he's also going over the video of all of us pitchers. Like it takes a lot, and like I said earlier, it's special what he does. No one else does it.
Well, the guy's incredible. I mean, that's all you can say. From what we've seen and what he goes through, he does it, and he enjoys it. But, you know, that's what you have to do. You got to look forward to facing someone like this because you always want to beat the best. And he's one of the best there is. So let's get after it. Let's have fun. Let's see what we can do with him.
Zabrowski said it best. Nobody else does it. Guardians versus Ohtani and the Dodgers. First pitch is next.
You know, it's the first time that he's been from the start a two-way player since 2023. 3-year stretch where he had full-time two-way duties, 2021 through 2023. Only Aaron Judge had a better OPS as a hitter. Only 2 starting pitchers had an ERA better than Shohei Ohtani's 284.
Shohei, always the gentleman, waiting for the pain to kind of wear off, and we're actually going to have a visit from the trainer from Cleveland.
It's the second game in a row DeLauder's fouled a ball off himself. I don't remember if it was the same exact spot last night. But was in some pain.
Back foot.
Is it front foot last night?
Yeah, I think it was front foot, just barely off the shin guard. And you see Shohei. He feels everybody's pain.
Well, he's been there. And like Superman, like stepping into the phone booth. Changes gear. Becomes the hitter. And comes up to lead things off in front of this group right here. So that's going to do it for Ohtani. 5 2/3 scoreless innings. Well, if the goal is a Cy Young, it's a good first step in that direction.
He was slipping a little bit. He was getting some mud in his cleats, and they want a little bit of the drying agent and the rake. And
so maybe this isn't the change.
Yeah, I think Dave was coming out with concern for his pitcher, and Ohtani might not ask for the help, but Dave said, I'll step in and make sure he gets it. And now he's going to get the implement to clean the spikes a little bit. Just don't slip with that. I always worried about cleaning my spikes and slipping, and then you slip right into one of your metal spikes and can cut your hand.
Oh.
You just got to be very careful if all of a sudden you need to use some strength to get through some of the caked mud, that you don't slip through it.
Yeah, this, you know, the 4-pitch walk right there to Manzardo is dialed in as he's been in all night. It was like, wait a minute, what? That helps explain it if he's starting to lose his footing. Brandon there with the assist.
Yeah, so when you stepping on the grass that's been rained on, that's the moisture. You get a ton of moisture on the bottom of your spikes, and then you walk onto the mound and it immediately starts to cake. And so you almost want to be cleaning your spikes on the mound and stay off the grass, because you can keep the dirt from piling up a lot quicker. Not that I thought about this stuff at all.
No, you didn't think about nothing. All right, so that high-tech spike cleaner. Ohtani trying to finish off 6 scoreless. His 1-2 to Hoskins is swung on and miss. 6 Ks over 6 scoreless innings in his season debut.
Max's Japanese has really gotten better.
Are kind of loving it. You know, it's fun to be out playing in the rain and singing in the rain. And Dodgers got it done tonight. They pick up a 4-1 win over the Guardians. Shohei Ohtani was fantastic, and they had just enough offense, some clutch RBI knocks late in this game to kind of put things away.
Not just singing in the rain, winning in the rain. Dodgers really played good baseball, led by Shohei Ohtani. Outstanding job on that mound. Really looked sharp. The offense did wake up late. Max Muncy hit a tape measure shot. Love the way Tasker Hernandez swung that bat tonight. Good all-around win.
Yeah, the offense scored enough runs, but it was really about the pitching today. Shohei really did a tremendous job going 6 scoreless, and then you have Vesia coming in, and you got Dreyer coming in. And I'll tell you, it's tough for any closer out there when it's a non-save situation, but still got the job done. Tremendous job by the pitching staff today. It was a good victory.
Great bounce-back win for the Dodgers, 4-1 over the Guardians. You mentioned Shohei Ohtani. His first start of 2026, he was outstanding. 6 shutout innings, and right now he's standing by with Kirsten Watson.
Shohei's 6 shutout innings just on your season opener. When it comes to being on the mound, how good did it feel just getting back out there and competing as a pitcher in a meaningful baseball game?
6回投げて、ピッチャーとして、シーズン迎えて気持ちよかったですか？
いい状態でマウンドに上がれたんですけど、ちょっと天候もあって難しいマウンドではあったので、逆に言えば1試合目にこういう経験ができて、いいスタートを切れてよかったのかなと思ってます。
Felt really good going into the game. The condition, today's weather wasn't great, but it was a good thing to experience this early in the season. So I'm going to charge it to experience.
It seemed like you had your entire pitch mix tonight. How did you find just navigating through the Guardians lineup?
全球種結構使えてたと思うんですけども、このガーディアンズの打線どう投げ切ったんですかと。
左バッター中心だったので、配球に関してはウィルの方に若干任せ気味に投げてはいたので、それにしっかり応える形で全球種しっかり投げれたのは良かったかなと思ってます。
A lot of lefties in the lineup, and I really, let Will Smith take charge in terms of pitch calling, and I focus on execution.
You were able to get on base 3 times offensively. How would you describe where you're at just this early in the season when it comes to being at the plate?
打線とか振り返ってみてどう思いますかと。
本当になんていうんですかね、向きにならずにというか、しっかりとボールは見極めて、取れるものをしっかり取っていけば、チームの打線として素晴らしいものは持っていると思うので、しっかりと今後得点につながっていくシチュエーションというのは多くなるんじゃないかなと思ってます。
I expect to have, many more opportunities in general for this lineup to be able to score. So, things like today is going to be a really important day to continue moving forward.
All right, Shohei, well, congratulations on this win tonight.
Thank you.
There's Shohei Ohtani walking off the field after his 6 scoreless innings. And yeah, the conditions weren't ideal tonight. Jared felt a little bit like San Francisco. It was a cool evening. It was drizzly, and then it just started flat out raining here at the Ravine. But he just seems unflappable. It doesn't matter the conditions or what's going on out there, and he showed that the way he threw the ball.
Yeah, listen, we talked about on the pregame show, would he be sharp? We saw him in spring training. He was outstanding with all his pitching, whether it's the breaking ball, the split, the fastball command, and he was sharp once again tonight. Yes, you saw the 3 bases and balls. You got to remember, it was wet, and he did a lot of slipping on the mound, but not just him. Other pitchers had issues with the mound because of the rain, but he was able to fight through it, throw 87 pitches, and the most important part, keep the Guardians offense off the board. He did a great job of that tonight.
Yeah, listen, 87 pitches and still went 6 innings, went out there, and it looked like he was just in control. Even if he had those base on balls, even when he had somebody on base, he still looked like he was in control. It didn't look at any moment where you were really going, okay, it looks like he may be losing it. It looks like he may be off. No, even if he may have been off maybe a couple of pitches here and there, he seemed to come back and get right back into it and find his groove and still be able to pound the zone. Now, that's really important because that also puts your manager at ease going, okay, he's finding it, he can figure it out. Him and Will are doing a good job, and still to give you 6 scoreless in his first outing after only having 2 in spring training. That was impressive.
Well, Ohtani's first start on the mound this season, an impressive one. 6 scoreless innings, and the Dodgers win 4-1.
Yeah, he only gives up the 1 hit. He reaches base 3 times. He does everything that you would ever want a guy to do too, and he does it in a dominant fashion. That's the fun part to watch. When he's on the mound, the way he's attacking the hitters with either the fastball, the split, the curveball, the cutter, whatever he's throwing, he looks like he could dominate anytime he cocks his arm.
How do you sort of feel just being able to have a fully built up sort of start to the season, being able to go 6 innings in the first sort of outing?
しっかりオフシーズン、スプリングトレーニング、しっかり準備期間っていうのがあって、今回6イニング投げれたっていうことに対してどう思いますか？
まず投げれたのがすごい良かったですし、6イニング投げ切れたのもまだ良かったとは思うので、難しい天候の中でしっかりと6イニング、決まった球数の中で投げれたのは良かったのかなと思ってます。
Do you feel like you're a better pitcher maybe than you were even last year? Dave said that your stuff's even gotten better than it was when you first came back.
今年の方がピッチャーとして成長して良くなっているのかなと監督がおっしゃってましたけど、
それは毎年毎年良くなるようには努力をもちろんしてるので、そうなるように努めてますし、終わった後にシーズンが終わった後に一番良かったと思えるシーズンならそれは一番いいことなのかなとは思ってます。
That's my intention every year is to be a better pitcher, better player, and I hope that at the end of the year, my intention is to be able to look back and say that was a really good pitching season.
In what way do you feel like you're better?
どのように？
なんですかね、投げ心地がまずいいのが一番かなとは、去年も良かったですけど、なんていうんですかね、あまり向きにならずにというか、今日はその中でもちょっと最初の方は力入ってたなっていう感想はあるので、それが次回以降の少し課題なのかなと思ってます。
Last year I felt good, but this year I do feel a lot more loose and easy pitching overall, and looking back at today's outing specifically, that wasn't necessarily the case, so that's something I want to work on. But compared to last season, I do feel a lot loose and easy.
Yeah, he looks loose and easy, and it looks like mechanically everything is just so smooth with Shohei Ohtani. Even though he only had 2 spring starts, like you mentioned, Nomar, he goes out there, throws 87 pitches, allows just 1 hit.
Yeah, when we saw him last year when he was coming up, obviously kind of getting no rehab starts. He has to do it at the big leagues, but coming off his second surgery on the elbow, he was even getting interviewed and talking about, I'm not worried about trying to throw 99 to 100, getting up there. He's like, I'm fine around 96. It's more about repeatable mechanics, going out there, knowing that he has 99 when he needs it, but just knowing that he can get guys out at that mid-90s, but feel more fluid, feel more free. And I think that has carried over into this season, obviously, where you get a full off season of working to get to where he is right now.
And here is the K-zone of Shohei's night.
Yeah, it was really impressive because if you look at where all his pitches start, they start in the middle of the zone, they break to the outer half, and this is why all the hitters are looking for fastball. I'm going to look 97, 96. He was also getting ahead, so he's throwing strikes, but then he can come with the off-speed, the curveball, the split finger. That was dirty right there. I mean, where it started, and then it even ended, and it was questionable whether it might have been a strike anyway. You get the swing and miss, you slip, but he was really, really good just mixing all his pitches.
Outstanding job by our crew back there, just highlighting. You see that strike zone, the red, and then it darting out of the zone. That's what pitchers do. In order to pitch efficiently, yes, they love strikeouts, but they chase soft contact. They want you to put it in play soft, so they have to use 4 or 5 pitches, sometimes 6 or 7 in a bat, put it in play early. Greg Maddux made a career, a Hall of Fame career, by chasing soft contact. He used to always say his ideal perfect game would be 27 pitches. You put it in play weekly, not a strikeout. That's what Shohei Ohtani is doing. And Nomar, you made an excellent point. He's not going out there chasing 100 miles an hour. He'll hump up when he has to, but what he does is nice rhythm and tempo delivery, almost putting the hitter to sleep, and then boom, slow breaking ball, nice splitter, fastball when he needs to, in the perfect location. That is pitching fun to watch.
He says he would love to win a Cy Young, become the first Japanese pitcher to ever do so, off to a really good start with the win tonight and the 6 scoreless innings. Let's head inside the clubhouse and hear from the man who caught Shohei tonight. It's America's catcher, Will Smith.
Well, I know just this spring, Shohei had limited starts, of course, with being away at the World Baseball Classic, but just to see where he's at this early in the year, to see how he's using his full pitch mix tonight, how would you just describe how the stuff was playing?
Yeah, I thought he was really good. Yeah, it's kind of mixing everything. Getting guys out, put up 6 scoreless innings. It was a really good start.
Does it look different compared to last year?
No, it's kind of the same mix. He continues to work and try to fine-tune things, but, pretty similar to last year. I only think he's getting a little better maybe, but, yeah, he looks really good.
How much of a boost is the pitch when his mix is so deep that he can go as heavily to the curveball today, or a different day it could be a splitter and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of any guy. You're figuring out what's working that night. What the hitters aren't really seeing. Tonight was the curveball a little more maybe. But he was doing a good job, mixing speeds with everything, not letting him just sit on the curveball or whatever. So, yeah.
Have you gotten used to watching your DH and leadoff hitter throw 6 scoreless innings yet?
I don't know if I'll ever get used to that. It's pretty special. It's really hard to put into words when you actually see it in person, what he's able to do. And really my only thought is how good is that guy going to sleep tonight?
I feel like in some ways he's gotten better on the mound.
Well, I know everyone talks about his hitting, but getting to know him over the years, he really loves pitching. Like, he loves everything about it. I think pitching is what he's really all about, and so just to see him continue to progress, it's no surprise to me at all. It's just pretty incredible.
What gave you that sense?
It's just, when you watch him go about his work every single day, he's really bought into everything with pitching, his mechanics, how to attack, hitters. He just focuses on it so much, and, you can just really, really tell that he loves it.
Have you guys kind of been, waiting to see, a full-time, two-way version of him, these last couple of years? How much, have you guys just kind of been looking forward to kind of seeing, how a year like this will go for him?
It's definitely exciting. It's just if he's able to do it the whole year, that's just a huge boost to our pitching staff, which we already feel really good about. And I expect nothing short of almost a Cy Young out of him.
Pitch mix was good, sequenced really well. I thought Will did a great job with him. I thought the targeting, the catching of the baseball, the fingers, all that stuff was great. He used the challenges the right way. And he and Shohei were in lockstep tonight. So really good outing from Sho.
Even after such a good outing, Shohei was really focused on, I want to feel more loose and easy. Just what do you take from that reaction from him?
Typical. I think for him, he's never going to be satisfied. There's always something that he can, improve on or get better at. And that's what, fuels him. But it was a good outing. So, I think, and honestly, I think offensively, he's taking walks, and I think he's swinging the right pitches, and those hits will start to come. But, it was just a solid night.
I feel like he's harder on himself as a pitcher than as a hitter.
Yes, absolutely. And I've talked about it a lot. His demeanor when he's pitching is different than when he's just hitting. And I do think he's more critical as a pitcher, certainly.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know the answer. I think that, pitching you can dictate, and hitting you're more of a reactor to what the pitcher's doing, and so I think that because he's more in control with the pitching things, he thinks he can control it more, which in one sense you probably can.
How much more impressive does it make it for him to go 6 scoreless after making 2 starts in the spring, pitching in the rain? Kind of everything that went in night circumstance-wise.
Pretty impressive. The conditions in we saw in his lives in Tokyo and wherever it was in Miami, or pitching in Arizona, and then coming and pitching, with these conditions. Just he's unflappable, and obviously in that last inning, the mound started to get to him a little bit. So being able to fix it and kind of get his footing back was good to get through that Hoskins at bat. But yeah, he's not a whole lot kind of affects his mind.
Dave, you said that you'd like to, in a perfect world, mix in a 6 or 7 day schedule for Shohei, but that it's fluid. How much of that fluidity is based on Shohei himself and his performances?
Not a lot. I think that appreciating the fact that it's a long season, and the schedule that he's been on, his time pitching, and You know, I think that just kind of being mindful to give ample recovery, you know, and he's also an everyday player. So I think that's important. So I think it's always good to hear that he feels strong enough to pitch more frequently, which is great. And at some point we might do that. I don't know when, but I think that, you know, status quo right now is pretty good.
Do you know when he's going to start?
I don't, but I don't. It's going to be probably 6 days rest, something like that. But I'm not sure exactly what the pitching guys have.
What do you think of Ohtani, what he was able to do to your hitters? Yeah, I mean, he had a good mix. It was kind of really had no pattern to it. Was throwing all of his pitches. Obviously, the fastball velocity was good. His command was good, and all of his off speed he was landing for the most part. So, you know, tough to get stuff going with one hit. When you face a guy like Ohtani, I know you're not hitting this, knowing everything you put through his pitch, how difficult did that possibly be, both things that he's doing?
I don't really understand how he does it. I feel like I think it helps that he's turning a different way. Like when he's pitching, he's turning this way. When he's hitting, he's turning this way. So it probably helps a little bit. Doesn't get worn down as much. But I mean, he's been doing it since whenever he came to the league. That he's been one of the best players. So it's impressive for sure.
What do you think about the Dodgers lineup?
It's really deep. It's really deep. I feel like when I'm looking at the lineup and you see Teoscar hitting 7th, I feel like in a lot of other orders he'd be hitting 3, 4, 5. It's really deep. Obviously they're human too, so it's executing. I feel like what good teams like this do is they hit mistakes, and they hit mistakes really well. But yeah, I feel like it's extremely deep.